In this year's IDG Tech News Review, we'll take a look at some of the top technology stories from 2011. Tablets, tablets, and more tablets. Apple led the pack this year with its iPad 2, but Android tablets are eating away at Apple's stronghold, and legal battles continue to shape the market. Struggles played out on the world stage between Apple and Samsung, with Apple attempting to block sales of the Samsung Galaxy Tab 10.1 because it looked too similar to its iPad. The real threat to Apple, however, is not only Samsung, but Google's Android. While Samsung became the world's biggest smartphone vendor this year, Android's market share surpassed 50%, comprising 60 million devices from multiple vendors. The tablet business saw a revolving door of new devices, including the lower-priced Kindle Fire and Nook tablet from booksellers Amazon and Barnes & Noble, as well as the failed TouchSmart from HP. Hoping to get in the tablet game, Microsoft teased its Windows 8 operating system that will be available in beta in the first half of 2012. The interface will operate on x86 processors, seen in desktops and laptops, and ARM chips used in many tablets. Microsoft is joining the game late, likely 3 years after Apple debuted its first iPad. In a market where iOS and Android dominate, some wonder if there's any room for Microsoft. While that remains to be seen, IDC analysts predict a bright road for the company's newest mobile OS, Windows Phone 7.5. Analysts predict that in 2015, Windows Phone will account for 20% of the market, while iOS just 17%. With its wide range of devices, Android will be number one with about 44% market share. The survey attributes Microsoft's potential success to Nokia, which dropped Symbian this year in favor of Windows Phone. Continuing its tradition of annual product debuts, Apple introduced the iPhone 4S in October. The outside of the device is almost identical to its predecessor, but inside the company beefed up performance specs. Most notably, it added Siri, a voice-controlled personal assistant. While Apple had two headlining products this year among others, it also lost its leader, and a man who helped define the age of computing. Pushed out of his own company in the 80s, Steve Jobs returned and eventually led Apple to become the most valuable company on the planet. He popularized portable music, entertainment, and communication with the iPod, iPad, and iPhone, and left an indelible mark on the daily lives of millions. Though it's too soon for history to judge the role Steve Jobs played in shaping technology, the outpouring of tributes around the world when the 56-year-old Apple co-founder died on October 5th was a testament to his iconic status. Not much can turn customers off faster than a service outage. Research in Motion and Sony found that out the hard way when both companies suffered significant service disruptions this year. April attacks on Sony's PlayStation and Curiosity networks knocked out service for millions of users for 2 months, compromised personal data of some 70 million subscribers, and cost Sony $170 million to clean up. The internet went down in Egypt in January, but not because of hackers, but because the government turned it off. Egyptian service providers, under pressure from a government besieged by political protest, cut connectivity. It returned 5 days later, and Egyptians logged back onto social networks, and information flowed freely again. Disruption in the form of a natural disaster rocked Asia this year, killing thousands, shutting down factories, and endangering the lives of millions with toxic radiation. The earthquake constrained the supply of raw materials and components such as flash memory, microcontrollers, and LCD parts. Prices soared after the earthquake and subsequent tsunami, which damaged facilities belonging to Sony, Freescale, Fujitsu, Texas Instruments, and other companies. Floods in Thailand in the second half of the year made it a 1-2 punch for the PC and component markets. After expanding about 30% in 2010, global semiconductor revenue will squeeze out barely a 1% increase this year. In a quick look at the business side of the tech industry, we saw several changes at HP, most notably the exit of HP CEO Leo Apoteca after barely a year of running the company. He's credited with planning to spin off HP's $40 billion PC business. After being replaced by former eBay CEO Meg Whitman, HP decided to hang on to the PC group. AT&T planned to acquire T-Mobile for $39 billion this year, but the Federal Communications Commission thought otherwise, announcing in November that it found the deal against the public interest. An acquisition that was permitted was Microsoft's $8.5 billion purchase of Skype. The Internet Telephony Company gives Microsoft access to a broad base of consumers eager to IM, chat, and video conference on PCs, game consoles, and smartphones. And that's a look at the big stories from 2011. Be sure to check out our other year-end wrap-ups. In Boston, Nick Barber, IDG News Service.